You're listening to the Black Eagles podcast with Sinan and Kaan.
Ahmet Dursun Sergen aldı. Sergen Bülent yan yana. Sergen Bülent. Sergen. Orada Tümer var. Tümer'e doğru atışını kaybetti. Tümer topu aldı. Sergen aldı. Gol! Gol! Gol! Sergen attı. Sergen attı. Şampiyonluk geldi. Sergen attı. Şampiyonluk geldi.
İbrahim'in pası. Roma. Şimdi Ahmet. İkinci gole gidiyor Beşiktaş. Ahmet.
Okay. Welcome back, everybody. Episode 80 of the Black Eagles podcast, Beşiktaş International, the Black Eagles podcast. I am your host, Sinan, coming at you live from New York City on a grand day for the podcast because once again, I've got two co-hosts to introduce. One, the Akman, Evran Akman, of course, who's been around of late. And then the prodigal son, if you will, Kaan, everyone, has returned. So lots of applause here. Hi, guys.
Yo, what's up?
What's up? Throwback to the 90s.
Yeah, you're just showing them how old we are, Kaan. Evran, do you even know what that means? What that's a reference to?
Hey man, I mean, I've been keeping a straight face for the last couple of episodes I did with interviewing, Declan Edge and Ricky Herbert, and I talked to Sonia earlier today. I spoke to Andrei Zlamal from UEFA.com, and I spoke to Stavros Makoulakis yesterday. So I've been doing a bunch of straight up interviews, so I have to keep my professional composure. So now I'm talking to you two, so I can let go a little.
Lay loose.
Yeah, exactly.
Put your feet up on the table. Get comfy. Yeah, of course, by all means. How are you doing, Evran? So Evran, before I even let you answer the question, the silent guy over there in the corner is coming at us from a tryout. He tried out for Cruz Azul in front of a number of scouts. He is, of course, coming off a pretty big injury as well. So, probably didn't go that well for you. But how you doing, man?
I'm alright. I played 30 minutes at 11v11 for the first time. So I guess, I heard after the adrenaline wore off, it kind of hurt. But, during the game, it felt fine. So.
All right. The kid is back on his feet. That's what you like to hear. So, yeah, gosh. Big episode today. Of course, 80, kind of a big number. Maybe not really that big of a number. But anyway, we do have a lot to talk about. A couple friendlies to review. And, of course, some transfer news. And some good news for a change at that. Boy, where do I begin? I got to hand the mic over here. I'm hogging it. Evran, I'm going to start with you. Tell us a little bit about our friendlies. And let's start with the game against Udinese. To begin with, so we're in Austria, we're in our training camp. Our starting lineup for the game against Udinese. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so we had a couple injuries, so I guess we changed some things around in midfield, particularly. Muhayir Oktay came in for his first start at an attacking mid kind of role. And then, or I guess 4-1-4-1, so center mid role, and then Gary Medel was also there. Back four stayed the same, goalie stayed the same. Front three, Burak Yilmaz had his first start of the camp.
Yep.
And then obviously Boyd Quaresma were in there.
His last.
Yeah. But the injuries were there before, and the injuries kept coming, so kind of the theme.
Yeah, perhaps that was the theme of the Austrian camp, because it certainly was not goals scored.
No.
But so, I guess we don't need to do the whole build-up or anything. Spoilers are free here. Beşiktaş lost both of these games, in fact. They lost the next game against Brescia as well. They lost both of them 2-0 and did not score neither, obviously. But so going back to Udinese, Burak Yilmaz, what did you think of his performance? And I'll hand Evran, so what did you think about how Burak played, beyond the fact that he did?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a wonderful performance, or as you expect, first game back. But he definitely, I would say, as Kaan likes to say, he weighed on the defense more than Güven typically was.
Yeah.
He was definitely diving all over the place.
Difficult.
He's got his he's got his trademark fall that we all know and no longer hate. But yeah, he managed to get booked. He managed to get booked for yelling at the ref as our captain during a friendly, which for some reason I thought was funny. He had no chances, but he was definitely involved.
I mean, that's a funny point because it does highlight perhaps the weakness of selecting him as a captain. We talked about his ability to flare up too much at times on the pitch, which you might not necessarily want from your captain, particularly in a friendly match. But I will say one thing about this game. Both of Udinese's goals were in the second half, and at that point, a bunch of the team had been shaken up. Is that not correct, Evran?
It was still that was still most of the starting 11. It was just John Eric came out for Ridvan.
Yeah,
and then Gary Medel got hurt early on in the first half.
Yeah, so we had
Erdem Seçkin came in. So we had two youngsters.
So two youths out there, and fairly pivotal places defensively. We've had a proclivity for letting up goals in the back half of our defense by giving them too much freedom. So relying on Erdem in that role, that's a bit much. I mean, I will say I've been fairly impressed with him overall in this camp. But yeah, I mean, having two guys in the back certainly, I would say, contributed to them then scoring. So what I mean to say is that when our actual starters, or the closest to the starting lineup we could put out there, was out there, we didn't let up any goals, and it was just 0-0. Although still, I think Udinese was pushing more, probably looked the sharper of the two sides. Again, like as you said, Burak was playing in his first game. The Beşiktaş's starting 11 has not gotten much experience together, I think we can say. Kaan, do you have any notes about anything we're talking about here?
Well, the main thing, in my opinion, I don't really care about results in preseason. It's all about match fitness.
Yeah.
And that's I think our fans, but also Fenerbahce Galatasaray fans, it doesn't matter. They all put way too much importance on the results in these matches. It really doesn't matter. It's all about getting those guys fit for that first and that second and that third match day. And you know what? You're never going to be firing on all cylinders, and it's always going to take you a couple of games to really get into the groove. But the main concern that I have, and I really don't panic in preseason because, the football being played isn't beautiful or whatever. But the main thing that my concern is the complete and utter ineptitude to create any form of danger. I mean, there were half moments, but you can count those on one hand. Most of them, I think, involve Tyler Boyd, mainly just...
I would say all of them?
Yeah, I mean, I think...
Güven had no...
Yeah,
Güven had zero chances. Right?
Yes, and that's one of those things, with Burak being out for 3 to 4 weeks, he's going to miss at least the first 2 games probably, maybe the third game. And fortunately, our fixtures aren't that tough. I mean, Sivas away is tough, okay, especially with Riza Çalınbay there, already making statements before the season starts, saying that this is the most important match for us, and blah and blah, which he says every year when they play Beşiktaş. I don't know why he does that, But anyway, we're going to miss Burak probably for those first 2, maybe the first 3 matches. And now Burak, throughout his career, has had this knack of being fit earlier than expected. Like when he's supposed to be out for a month, he's back after 2 weeks. I think that happens because he get some special treatments to get fit quicker. But it's kind of concerning that he comes up that surgery and then immediately gets injured again. I'm kind of dreading that this is going to be one of those seasons for him where he's going to go from one little annoying injury into the next, and he's going to miss a lot of games. That's something I'm dreading, mainly because I don't see Güven Yalçın, and I know that there's some fans here, and we've praised him last season when praise was due, but I think I've been consistent in my opinion that I do not feel that he's ready or even close to being ready to be the successor of Burak.
I don't think you'll get much argument there, because I know I've said that he's someone who I'd like to see getting opportunities, but he's definitely a backup, and I think I've said that maybe Evran said he might like to see him sort of ready to step in next year. I've said probably 2 seasons down the line that we need a bridge between Burak and him, probably.
Yeah, I think Güven needs a full season of first-team football under his belt. I think a loan spell would be great for him. Where at a club where he would get like some guaranteed minutes. But obviously that's not going to happen because they're going to keep him around as the second or the third striker, depending on who Afçıyan's are preferring. And right now it looks like Güven is getting the nod over Umut. But generally, I'm just very concerned of our how we looked offensively because. Okay, Burak isn't there, and Laiç isn't there, which is a big thing. But Boyd is there, and right now, as it stands, Quaresma looks to be the other starting winger. And then, of course, Güven. And, Güven is, in those games, completely ghosted. I think against Brescia, he got, like, one shot that was, like, the half chance we had that match. But it was, that was his only moment. It didn't feel like he weighed on the defense at all in that match. And from the previous games that I saw, he didn't, it's just, he's inexistent. He's not making it life difficult for the defenders, which I like about Burak, which I've mentioned before, as everyone already said as well. And that's something I really lack from Güven, something I kind of lacked from Cenk in the past as well, at times. And that's concerning. And then, of course, for me, the common theme that's been coming back for months now with Quaresma is, and I know we've had this discussion, everyone said that, most of the danger did come from Quaresma in that friendly against Larissa or something. But the thing is, maybe he gets a good ball once in a while, but I think there's a very fundamental issue with Quaresma right now, which I continue to see, and I've been seeing for 6+ months now, is that he just doesn't seem to be able to beat his man anymore. And if he gets past him, he's immediately brought back because he lacks that explosiveness right now. And I think that the problem is that he gets the ball at 35, 40 meters out, and there's just nowhere he can go because he's immediately locked down, and the only option he has then is to pass it either laterally or pass it back to the left back or pass it back to whatever, but there's no... I don't know. I'm very concerned if we're going to go into this season with Quaresma as our left winger, because I think what we've seen is that our left wing is completely paralyzed with Caner, of course, carrying over his poor form from last season. I know I'm ranting now, guys. I know I'm going along here.
Well, Kaan, let me interrupt you then. To say that I think you've been accurate for the most part. The only sort of thing that could mitigate that as a weakness is that I've noted in previous episodes, especially when Shinji was a part of things. My guy Kagawa, but Quaresma and Ljajic have a rapport, and so when Ljajic is out there, and that's the big thing that's been lacking in this off season, because he's so pivotal to our offense. And I mean, that's a little dangerous, right? Because if he goes down to an injury at some point this season, this is what we're going to see. It's not a good look. But anyway, the main point though is that when Ljajic is out there, Quaresma and he have a kind of lateral relationship, rapport, passing that can actually be not such a negative. But without Ljajic, seeing what we have seen, it's like there's nothing. As you say, there's no option for him to go even laterally. It's like giving the ball away almost, because then the guys start fending off the ball defensively, and we start, we lose any momentum. That's been
Yeah,
no
but what
good.
you see, for example, with a Tyler Boyd is when he gets locked down, what he'll try is he'll look for the 1-2 and he'll look for a quick combination and he'll run through straight away. And that's something Quaresma just doesn't do anymore.
No, you're right. Yeah.
And
the
I just
explosiveness
think-
is gone, and it was a part of his game.
Yeah, he's extremely static, like absurdly static, and I don't get what that is, because all the things you're hearing from the training camp is that he's one of the guys that's showing the absolute most desire. So and he looks physically fit, and I can't remember that during the first half of last season, when we were, despite the fact that we were absolutely horrendous in the first half of last season, I just can't remember having this idea of Quaresma seemingly can't get past this man anymore. And I just remember that in the second half of the season, that was a common issue, and I just saw it carry over into the preseason here. And I'm very curious what everyone thinks about it, if he's seeing it too.
And just one more thing before we hand it over to Evran, because I think he's got to be the one who closes out this segment. But I will say another credit to Quaresma is that he seems to get along with Tyler Boyd very well. So their relationship has been positive. We know that Tyler Boyd's like idol, or the guy he looked to the most growing up for his own game was Cristiano Ronaldo, and so I would imagine that his relationship with Quaresma is sort of enticing to Tyler Boyd, and his proximity to him, and they came up together as sort of rival prodigies. So that must be something that is a positive for Tyler Boyd, at least for getting him settled. And he looks like he's settled very quickly, and you did highlight that. Tyler Boyd's been fantastic. So if Quaresma's played a role in that and has shown some leadership in that regard, that's a positive sign, because in theory, Tyler Boyd would be a rival of his for playing time too. So definitely, I think that from the signs that we've gotten from the training camp and everything, I think that definitely, whereas I think he had a very negative effect last season, because I understand it, not getting paid and stuff like that. I get that. I get that he was kind of annoyed and in a lost season.
Yeah. And plus, he was, how Quaresma can get a little petulant at times. But so far this summer, I've had the impression that he's been a positive impact, especially in the dressing room, and that he's been very welcoming of Tyler Boyd, like you said. And I think that really helped having him settle in. And when I'm looking at our players, there's like two bright spots I see from the training camp so far, and that's Muhaya Oktay being. Looking like an above average young player, I'd say, and surprisingly, I would say didn't get any chances under Sinan Güneş last season, because he does look like he is more than just an average, decent player. I think he could possibly,
surprisingly, in quotes. I'm not saying I know you better than that.
I mean, possibly, I think he could be Beşiktaş material. Of course, that's that's going on a limb a little bit. We'll have to wait and see, obviously, but definitely like what I've seen from him. But my main bright spot from the training camp has been Tyler Boyd. He's like the only player that I can say he looks 100% ready. If the league started tomorrow, he's ready to go. And obviously, playing the Gold Cup and stuff like that, he didn't really get much of a break during the off season. But you can see it. He's very hungry to get going.
So Evran, now we haven't heard from you in a minute, but you gotta weigh in here. What do you think about all the stuff, all the slander
against Ricardo? I think obviously Quaresma's not the same way as he was when he first joined, dribbling wise. I think that was probably his peak in terms of just taking guys on, burning past people. And when he came back to Porto, and it's been like a steady, slow decline. However, the impact of speed on dribbling is less than the impact of your mentality on dribbling. So all I'm going to say is although I have seen times, like especially that Kasımpaşa game, I think that was the worst example where he just got locked down. I didn't see the Brescia game, so maybe he was bad there, but I did definitely see flashes this preseason where he was able to beat his man. I don't think it was as bad as that, like that when he played up against Karim Hafez. But I think he still got it. That's obviously my opinion. Obviously he's not going to go on those long jinking runs through 5-6 defenders. He's not going to just push the ball and burn past him like Tyler Boyd. I think there was a clip of him doing that, just breaking 3-4 challenges, getting a bounce here and there, and just burning it. He's not going to do that. He's 36 years old. However, one-on-one with his man, when he gets the ball, I know he say he's static. That's more of like just it's like a play style. He wants the ball at his feet because he is a little slower. When he can get the ball at his feet, he can still, on his day, maybe his day isn't always as much as we like, but on his day, he can still take on anybody at any time. I remember.
Yeah, but I don't really understand because he doesn't look sluggish. He doesn't look slow. I don't get why. I don't know. Maybe it's a confidence thing. Maybe it's, I don't know what it is, but I feel like he's afraid almost to try and get past this man at times. I don't know what it is. I really don't. But
I mean, I can tell you every time it seems like he tries to dribble someone, maybe he gets like yelled at by the fans, or
he gets double
like
triple marked at time. I mean, which is difficult. And I think in addition, when Adam Leitch isn't there, Adam Leitch is always going to pull at least one guy away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really think that's a huge caveat for the entire preseason, and not just. All right, in wrapping up the Quaresma thing, I think it's important to recognize in analyzing individual player like Quaresma or whoever else, but the team in general, in analyzing that, you have to keep in mind that Burak's played only one match this summer. Gökhan Gündoğan got injured after the second friendly, I think. In the center of the midfield, Atiba has not appeared at all, except for, did he play briefly against Udinese?
Atiba?
No, right?
No,
Atiba hasn't played at all. Yeah.
I think.
Right? He just appeared in training camp because he also came off the Gold Cup as well. So, I know I'm already, I made a list and I've already forgotten. A number of guys have been missing though. Guys, help me out here. Who's also injured?
Burak Yilmaz is injured. Gökhan Gündoğan is injured. Adam Leitch is injured. Atiba, as you said, is injured. Dorkan is injured.
There we go. Dorkan, yeah.
Gary Medel is injured.
Gary Medel, yeah.
Rocco
now
is injured.
Najib is also injured. Yeah, Rocco got injured.
Najib is injured, so that's
important to note is that Rocco seemed to be Avcii's first choice until he got injured in that second slot next to Vida. So, perhaps maybe he would have come out of the summer as like a bright spot, and now he won't.
I do think the reason behind that, though, I don't think necessarily he was his first choice, but I think that there's been interest in Mirin from Amiens in France. Yeah. So I think that the presumption that Avcii had, probably, because he knew that either Rocco or at least one of the two would get sold, and since that Miran was attracting most attention, I guess he just made the logical decision. Look, okay, we know what, Miran's probably on his way out, so I'll just use Rocco right now as a placeholder for that left-footed central defender that was on the top of Avcii's list.
And another great segue. I think that's, all right. All right. Before we fully move over to transfers, wrapping up the friendly matches against Udinese and Brescia. Again, we lost both of them 2-0. We're somewhat impotent up front. Notes.
Very.
I thought it was hilarious that a guy named Lasagna scored against us. I wanted to make a note of that. That's it.
Okay, Garfield.
One of my more popular tweets, like on my Sinan account, sure writes a lot, was making a joke about how not only did Lasagna probably seal a victory for Udinese, but we also learned Garfield's favorite player, without a doubt. Yeah. Come on. Dad jokes are allowed now that I'm actually a dad, so it's like I got a license to ill here. But yeah, man, I don't know. For me, the main thing is that we have to factor in how incomplete the squad has been throughout the entire preseason so far. We have yet to see I don't think there's been a single match where the actual, even among the guys who we have, like not including transfers, obviously, like Douglas, who came in already, now the new guy who we're going to talk about in a minute. Even without those guys, we still haven't even been able to field like our best 11 because of injuries and guys coming back from international duty and all that. So you really can't read too much into it, except for I think, and I agree fully with Kaan, the main thing being that impotence up front, and the thing that Kaan has not highlighted enough is the absolute ineptitude of the left side of our defense, in particular Caner Erkin, who has also, speaking of guys who have lost a step, Caner seems completely out of place, increasingly. We talked about it a bit towards the end of last season, but that certainly has carried on into this season, it would appear. And so, the need for a left back is great. But that's, I think, where we move on to the next phase of this episode anyway, where we start talking about transfers. And ironically, as far as the left back goes, there's not a lot of news. We've already talked about Jamilu Collins in our last episode, I think, or the one before. Riza Durmishi, still talk of him, sort of loosely. We talked about him already. Who else? Who else have we been linked to that we've already talked about?
Umut Merash.
Umut Merash, we talked about in the beginning of the summer. He's coming back around. But there's nothing really concrete on the left side of the defense to talk about. But, and I think this is probably where we should start, there is some concrete news regarding the left side of the center of our defense. Who should I hand it over? Kaan, how about you? Sir, tell us a little bit about the big news for today.
So, yesterday, I think it was, there were these rumors that were starting up that Beşiktaş were in advanced talks with Martin Škrtel, of course, former Fenerbahce, well, until June, Fenerbahce's center back. Yeah. But, I mean, I think we all kind of thought, like, it doesn't make sense, doesn't fit the profile, because it's been kind of hammered home already that Beşiktaş are looking for a left-footed central defender with good build-up capabilities. And, I mean, Martin Škrtel is obviously a proven defender, good player. I'm not going to knock him. But he's not what we're looking for, not the profile player that we're looking for. So earlier today there were some breaking news and stuff like that. Beşiktaş have agreed with Martin Škrtel, and I think we were all like, I don't think so.
I don't know
about that. And then, like, I think I took like a little 2-hour break or something during midday. And when I checked my phone again, suddenly I saw the news pouring in that we had agreed with Victor Ruiz Torre. Or Torre? What is it? Victor Ruiz Torre, I think his last name. Well, anyway, Victor Ruiz from Villarreal. 30-year-old central defender born in 1989, so he's younger than I am. I'm from 1988, but I'm from the end of the year, so I'm just 30 as well.
The point there is he's going to have a season of 30 still, right? He's not turning 31.
Well, I guess his birthday is in January or something, so I guess I'm not sure. Anyway, doesn't really matter. But he's a left-footed central defender. I'm not going to claim to be an expert on him because I'm really not. I don't think I've ever really... Well, I've watched Villarreal play, but I don't know. I mean, obviously I watched them when they play those Manlaspor and stuff like that, but I'm not someone who follows La Liga closely, so I'm definitely no expert. Not even close. But I can only say on what I've heard is that he's a really good ball-playing central defender. Good from what I can gather from statistics is that he's really good with long balls. And that he's a very accurate passer, which we were looking for. We were looking for someone who could start up the attack from the back, something Abdullah Avci wanted desperately. And he's that. I think he's a good age, 30 years old. It's good for a central defender, in my opinion. He's 1.85 meters, so he's not the tallest. But I don't know. I'm very hopeful, but we'll have to wait and see how it turns out. I mean, I did read some comments that his past season or so at Villarreal, he wasn't that great, but we'll have to wait and see. Next week, I'm speaking to Peter Welland, a Norwegian journalist, but he is specialized in La Liga, and in particular, he follows Villarreal really closely. So I'll be speaking to him next week to get a far more in-depth look from someone who actually knows what he's talking about firsthand when it comes to Victor Ruiz. But I'm seeing a lot of experts on Twitter right now who suddenly became an expert on Victor Ruiz, describing him. So you'll find plenty of that online. But that's all I can.
He's an 82 on FIFA. He must be great. I mean, okay, I'm not gonna lie. Like,
you know what?
At
least those
level,
people. At least those people are honest. At least those people aren't bullshit.
Right. Well,
you know?
I mean, they might not know how they reveal themselves. They might actually think that that's like a good measure, but at the same time, at least they're letting us know the extent to their ignorance.
Yeah, but but I mean, these guys, at least they're admitting, look, I don't know the player, but then you have people who are starting to write like threads on the guy.
Oh yeah, okay. I mean,
if you're not good at your style.
I am excited for the episode, Kaan. Like, those are always informative, obviously, and Alexandra, who recommended this fella to you, is also a fairly in-depth analyst of players, so I'm sure she's going to put you on the right trail here. And I'm excited to get to know more about this guy. Now, the only shame is obviously that the majority of our preseason's over, so we're not going to get to see much of him until the actual season's underway, with the exception of Panathinaikos this coming Saturday. But, I mean, I'm trying to think of Spanish defenders who have been with the club before. The first one to come to mind is Alexis Delgado, who is not like a particularly popular figure. Although I want to go on the record as saying I was never a hater of Delgado.
You know what? I mean,
when he put his hands up to say he wasn't touching the ball, then it hit his hand and he got a penalty. I love that.
Yeah, poor guy. No, but I mean, I felt like, I've seen this so often in the last couple of years, especially under Sinan Güneş, but also under Bilic, is that I really have the impression that defenders who come in and don't necessarily have like a great start, and one of our guys, Egehan, he made this comment as well. Like, if you don't make a good first impression, like you're I mean, you're kind of, I don't know, and that's kind of what we had with Matej Mitrovic. Like,
I mean, look at Tosic.
He showed glimpses
because he didn't make. And
well,
then
his first performance was amazing, Mitrovic.
Yeah, but then he quickly didn't get a chance anymore and stuff like that. I don't know, Sinan Güneş. I mean,
Vida too,
I think
right?
Alex
is like, it's weird. It seems like we only get these guys who stick around because we're somehow forced to give them another look, and then we're forced to give them enough playing time where then they actually settle, and then it's like, oh, actually they're pretty good, like Tosic or Vida or whatever it is. I feel like if we just committed to one of these guys and just let them work out their kinks a little bit, especially it'd be helpful if we could get our transfers in at the beginning of the summer and actually have these preseason games, but that's, I guess, wishful thinking around these parts. We haven't gotten early transfers in years.
Yeah. We need to look at the economical aspect of things. I think people mustn't forget that we are still.
We're sellers before we're buyers.
The board gets criticized really heavily, and I get it, and I agree with a lot of the criticism. But then on the other hand, I also think that a lot of the criticism is unwarranted. Like it kind of depends. Like, some people are just idiots when it comes to the criticism. Like, I get why they like the reason is, look, for the coach, if it was up to him, he'd have all his transfers on day one. So he gets the entire training camp to work with them, so he can integrate them into the team and all that kind of stuff, which is logical. That's obviously what the fans want too.
That's what the preseason's for, right?
Yeah. But what you need to keep in mind is, for a club like ours, and even, not just like ours, look at the Premier League. Lots of those clubs leave really late, even though they have millions upon millions to spend in transfer budget.
What's maybe crazy? Could the window be opened earlier and closed earlier?
I don't think that matters, because I think if you do that, which is
doing that.
They're doing it in the Premier League right now. But I think what happens then is that you're just shifting it. I think you're always gonna the point behind the reason why Beşiktaş always wait to make a lot of these deals
for other windows
in the final week. other windows to close
Or like other
and to
teams
get better
already
prices.
got their defender, and so this guy is no longer an option for them. And
And plus, you have these clubs that are looking to offload players, whether it's on loan or whether it's permanently, and the closer you get to deadline, the less they're going to play hardball. If you're negotiating with a club in July and they're asking for 7 million, and come August 31st, that player still hasn't been sold, you might be able to get him for 4 or for 3. And for a club like Beşiktaş, you cannot just throw 2, 3, 4 million out because you're impatient, so to speak. Because we as fans, we were impatient, and of course the technical staff, they want their players as quick as possible. But the club, the board, at the end of the day, they need to do the responsible thing.
I mean, it's a shame that the times are so incongruent. In particular, just the notion that we can't really use friendlies in the way that they're designed, to be used to prepare for the season with the guys who need, to adapt to playing together and settle and all that. But you're right though. It is certainly more complicated than just complaining or blaming someone for the problem. It's
and plus, what people can't forget either is that, look, we've already spent 9 million or 8.9 million on Laic and Boyd, and now we're spending another additional 2.5 or 3 on Victor Ruiz. So that's up to almost 12 million already, and we haven't sold anything. And okay, we're not under financial fair play anymore.
Loaned out Kyle Larin.
Okay, but we didn't. I mean, it's not like we've sold for. I mean, we don't have to necessarily break even in terms of our transfer in and out, but that doesn't mean we can have a 20 million deficit either, because we'll be under financial fair play in no time again if we do that. So I think you need to keep in mind that too. It's not just spend. Beşiktaş have to be careful how they, and you have to keep in mind, and I know lots of people rightfully so criticize Firat Gürener, and he had this thread up yesterday with filled to the brim with lots of BS. But there was one thing he said that I think was a valid point: is look, Beşiktaş's plans really got shook up when the Vitor Hugo deal didn't go through, because that was an initial loan for like 400-500K, and that 400-500K, that comes out of their transfer budget this window. But that now, let's say they pay 2.5 million for our friend Victor Ruiz now. Look, that's 2 million additional you're spending suddenly on top that you were going to not spend otherwise. That's 2 million you could have used towards a left back. That's 2 million you could have used towards a left winger or a central defensive midfielder. And for example, we've been linked with Mehmet Özcan from Eskişehirspor, and he's a player you could easily get for under that 2 million price tag. But now that's 2 million we had to spend, and we had to invest in another priority. So what we might get now is, look, we're going to sign this. We have the central defender. We're probably going to sign a left back and a left winger, and we may shift that defensive midfielder to January and not get him this window. Because, I mean, look, Tyler Boyd, Laic, defender, left back, left winger.
That's a lot of guys.
5 new players.
In fact, I even recall, Kaan, us saying at the beginning of the summer that we said those are like there are 4 or 5 guys that we need, and then the rest we can kind of hope for. And I mean, look, we even got Douglas, right? Like, we don't even talk about that much, but we've even added depth at a position where we really desperately needed it. And perfect example, right? Gökhan Gönül, boom, injured, right? Like, he just had surgery successfully yesterday. Great. But,
Lens can
big
play right
need.
back. Don't forget.
It's a need. We filled a need. And so, you're right. You can't be too negative about it. Now, so, of course, as you say, the only real rumors are regarding a left wing that we haven't covered. But before we do that, because of what you're talking about here, Kaan, what kind of rumors do we have as far as outgoing guys? Now, we've talked slightly about Nicolas Mirin going to Amiens in the 2nd division of France, I think.
No, I think in their league.
Are they league?
I think they promoted or something.
So, they were Ligue 2, but now they're.
Couple of years ago,
that's good.
So they made a 1 million offer, which Beşiktaş accepted. But Mirin,
he wants to fight for a spot,
according
right?
to Arthur, basically, I mean, according to Arthur Çizgi, what he said is, look, if you want me to go, I'll take this, I'll go, but I really want another chance to prove myself. And I mean, I think when we were last speaking to each other, Sinan, like if it were up to me, I'd sell Rocco first. For me, Mirin is the better of the two, and he's a player that I'd kind of like to keep.
Yeah, I mean, I hate what we've done with both of them. I'll be honest. I've said
but I
that
think
I think
Miran
either
has
one of
more
them
of an
would have
upside.
been at least played enough to get us enough value in a resale of. So even if at least we could break even, right? Like at this point, to get rid of either one of them, we're gonna have to take less than we should be able to get, I think. But it doesn't mean. I mean, especially now we're bringing in Ruiz. We clearly need to get rid of one of, if not both, of them.
Yeah, I mean, let's see. Who do we have available? Obviously, Vida, then Victor Ruiz, and then who else do we have?
Rocco, Miran, Necip, and Alpay.
Yeah,
Medel.
so Alpay is going out on loan.
Alpay's going out to Kayseri. There's some news.
Yeah. He's off to Kayserispor, yeah. That's been announced. Well, the
today,
Kayserispor president, Kayseri's president announced that today, so it's not yet been confirmed by Beşiktaş. But he's off on loan, Alpay, so we shouldn't count him.
Reported a week ago, but I didn't mention it here because I needed some sort of confirmation. But
so I mean, for me, ideally, I'd stick with Mirin and Necip, but obviously Rocco's injured right now, so that's making it even a little bit more difficult to transfer him. There wasn't really any.
An option.
Yeah, there's Medel, who's potentially, but he's one of the guys that's really strongly rumored. I mean, right now there's not really any strong rumors. I would say like 1 or 2 weeks ago there were really strong rumors with Dorukhan.
I was gonna say we've got to mention Dorukhan.
Yeah, with Udinese being strongly interested, but right now it seems, at least in the media, to have cooled down. Maybe.
What about Liverpool, Kaan? You heard about that?
Well,
right? I mean, the Fanatic was it?
Heard about it.
I've heard Liverpool's linked to the Trabzon goalie last year. They were saying I don't know why they keep throwing that name around.
Yeah, I think Liverpool's just a very popular club to throw out there, supposedly for interest. But I don't know. I mean, Aaron from Beşiktaş Talk, he's a big Liverpool fan, of course, and he shot it down. He said, "Look, Liverpool are not interested in Dorukhan. He's not on their radar." So I trust Aaron in that. So I don't think that it's the case. Plus, I mean, if I'm honest, I think Aaron was very nice to say, look, he's not on their radar. In my opinion, Dorukhan is not.
He's not
Liverpool
of their
material.
quality. Yeah, exactly.
Not right now, at least. So I think he misses a step in between there. So, but I mean, there's people talking about Dorukhan could leave at any minute unexpectedly. And the thing is that what we clearly have seen is that Ali Naibi, who's in charge now, he's not leaking anything. Yeah. He's not allowing Fenerbahce.
And if you didn't know this before, you should know this with Ruiz, right? Because that came out of completely.
You should know it with Ruiz. You should know it with Douglas, because Douglas. I mean, there have been rumors about Douglas, but not from credible sources.
It's almost like he'd let them.
Yeah, and I mean, definitely
before he swept in.
Yeah, I mean, Ali Naibi is doing a really good job at keeping shit quiet. That's frustrating for fans, but that makes 100% sense because it does not allow rivals.
Friends, come on!
Yeah,
like how many guys? Like half of both Fener and Galatasaray's rosters are guys that were rumored to us months ahead of them going to them. So I love that.
Yeah, but no, look, for example, Vedat Muric. I mean, Galatasaray went after him because Fenerbahce really wanted him. I don't think that Galatasaray seriously considered Vedat Muric as their number one option. I mean, I understand why they would be interested, but let's be honest. I mean, Galatasaray, if they're getting a new striker ahead of Diagne, they wanted to be a marquee signing. There have been strongly linked with Radamel Falcao over the last couple of weeks. Like, they're not gonna go out. They're not gonna make Vedat Muric their first striker. I mean, not saying that he's not good enough. We'll have to wait and see, but that's just not what Galatasaray would do. They want a big name there. So what you see then is Fenerbahce are interested in Vedat Muric, and what's happening, Galatasaray coming in and getting involved and driving up the price. So, I mean, obviously the price was kept low between quotation marks. I think they ended up getting him officially for $3.5 million, but then
they sent like 3 players on loan or something.
Yeah, they got like five players.
I really suspect that Shkrtel's agent brought up the whole Beşiktaş thing for that exact. Like, he was playing the role of Galatasaray or Beşiktaş by trying to get his price.
Yeah, that's stuff that happens all the time, and I mean, I don't know. who put the news out there, but I mean, if you think logically, like I said, like
It doesn't make sense. Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. Yeah, I'm not saying Skrtel's a bad player. Obviously, he's a good
And
defender.
You
He's a
said
little
earlier
old.
how lacking Fener is on their back line right now. So you know that they're the one who has the pressure to get him, and his agent has every reason to try to raise his value, because we know Skrtel was sort of unhappy, only he wanted 2 million or something, right? So,
No, they offered him 2, and he was on. I mean, previously, officially, he was on 3.5, but I think he was on like 5 even, because he got,
it was a move from Liverpool.
Aziz Yildirim, and even Ali Koç now, for example, with the whole Vedat Muric thing, is like officially 3.5 million, but in addition, Rizespor got like a sponsorship deal out of it from Koç Holding. Yeah. So, I mean, there's creative ways of,
which will probably be stamped down on as they become more prevalent, honestly, but whatever.
Well, you know what? I mean, we did the same. Honestly, I mean, we did something with Kagawa last season too, where his wages were being paid by somebody else. So, if we shouldn't throw stones.
I know. I'm just saying. Eventually, they've remember how creative things used to be with like people coming in to sponsor, and they've really like increasingly stamped down. So I think we're always trying to find creative ways, but over time they get stamped down, then you have to find new ways. So that's just the way of things. But
remember they magically sold the goalie Fenerbahce to Boluspor?
Yeah, exactly.
And then they released him a year later.
A year contract? No, but he didn't really even release him. He just had a 1-year contract.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's
artful,
massive record signing.
Doctoring of the books.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I thought that was a bit disgusting, frankly.
But anyway, so let's talk reality then. The only thing we have yet to cover that we need to cover here is, of course, the left wing situation, and there are a ton of guys being linked now. Yannick Bolasie is one from where is he playing?
Everton.
And then, but he's not the main one. The main one is it Mohamed Elyounoussi?
Yeah, I don't know what his first name is, but
let me not.
Elyounoussi from what club is he playing for? Southampton.
There's 2 of those Elyounoussis.
I don't know. I don't think that's. I don't know.
Mohamed Elyounoussi.
They're saying
he plays for Southampton. He's 24. So Bolasie's 30. Of course, Konoplyanka is 30.
30.
I think he might be turning 31 soon.
30.
So that's pretty much where those are the 3. The third name being Konoplyanka, who we talked about earlier. There's somewhat of a mystery regarding the reality of all that. But what do you guys think here about Bolasie or Elyounoussi, or do you think there's something else maybe to be considering here?
I'll let Evran go first because I've been talking a lot.
Yeah. Elyounoussi, Southampton paid like $20 million for him. It's probably 18 million euros, something around there, which is kind of a lot for a player like him.
Still
and
24.
I'm not surprised he didn't. Yeah, I'm not surprised he didn't do well there. He had 0 goals and 0 assists last season, in like 20 appearances or so, as a winger, or 19 appearances. I lied. Yeah, I don't like know him, but I know he's kind of like a little tricky winger. He's got some flair to him, which
he might be your next favorite player.
He's a former Basel player. I think that's where he really did his best work. But I guess he would be a left wing option on loan, probably option to buy. But the option to buy would be probably they want to recoup a lot of that 20 million. So I think
that'd be like
out of
12,
the price
15 million probably.
That'd
That's
probably
not happening.
Konoplyanka is probably more affordable because he hasn't been doing well and he's a lot older.
Yeah.
But my main choice, I always want ABOUBAKAR to come back. You should tweet #comeback ABOUBAKAR.
So well, so Evran, now this is important. Now it's important to mention that Burak Yilmaz has been. Kaan alluded to it. He's out for a month. He's gonna miss the first 2 or 3 weeks of the season, and he's gonna, he's not gonna come in at full form at that point either. So he'll have to be eased in, I'd imagine. So right now our number one striker is Guven Yalçın. So there was talk of us, instead of going for a left wing outright, going for a kind of in the style of Guven Yalçın, a striker who can play on the wing, but not at the level of a Guven Yalçın, obviously, because if that was enough, we would just roll with him. And of course, like the attention of Beşiktaş Twitter went straight to ABOUBAKAR. I'm seeing guys with ABOUBAKAR as their profile image. You know, I'm seeing Bubakar in like a Stalin outfit.
By the way, just quickly interjecting, Konoplyanka is still 29, by the way, until September. So
okay, so he's turning 30 soon, is what it is. Okay.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, clearly Beşiktaş Twitter is of the opinion that ABOUBAKAR is the man for the role. I think everybody loves the guy. And I think everybody dreaded the notion that he could be going to Galatasaray when that was a thing being discussed.
Mm-hmm.
I never really liked very much the notion of him as a left wing. To be perfectly
I think he played more on the right when he did play on the wing. So
I think so too. But and again, like that was kind of like in a pinch we'd use him in there. But he's clearly a striker. But I don't hate the notion of us like having a stopgap, between when Burak comes back and so he can play as a striker and then we can sort of utilize him as a wing. But of course we do still have Quaresma and Jermaine Lens on the books
And Boyd.
and now Tyler Boyd, obviously. But I've already cemented him in on the right side there. But so having ABOUBAKAR then as maybe a guy who could challenge Burak for that position as a striker, or come in on the wing when a Quaresma or a Lens or whoever is not playing well or is out or whatever it might be. It's I'll be honest, if it's between Elyounoussi, Bolasie, or ABOUBAKAR,
No
I go with
competition.
I go with ABOUBAKAR.
Our hero.
He's our hero, and it's a real need. We need a guy who can play striker in the short term. That's no joke. Kaan spoke about that earlier, how that's proven to be a serious deficiency in what we've got right now in the preseason. And I couldn't agree more. And I think ABOUBAKAR kind of nicely. I mean, there might be a better option as more of a natural, a guy who can really play the wing better and slide in up front when necessary. But given our history with ABOUBAKAR, given the fact that supposedly he's had some injury issues and might be more affordable now, I don't know, man. I like it. Kaan, your turn.
His knees are shot, right?
Yeah, that's the talk.
Okay, well, let's first get started with what we've learned over the past, 2 months? We've learned that whoever's in the media is not what we're getting, except for Tyler Boyd. But when it came to Douglas, like you said, that was kept quiet. This Victor Ruiz was kept very quiet. Nobody knew about this.
I mean, Hugo was pretty quiet.
Victor Hugo was kept. Yeah, that was kept quiet.
It was the same style. They said it was almost done.
Yeah,
and then it got hijacked.
That was done, and then Palmeiras came in with a last-second offer, but that's basically the same thing as what happened here. Like, nobody was talking about Victor Hugo before. Everyone was talking about Konoplyanka beforehand, and they were talking.
Yeah, that's right.
And they were talking about like lots of people. They were talking, lots of names were being thrown out there, but like nobody got it by the right hand. And ended up then suddenly out of the blue, like it looked like it was going to be Colo, and then suddenly there it was, Victor Hugo. But then it didn't happen, obviously. But now the same thing happened here. So what I think is what we should learn from that is, look, we're being linked with all these guys, Elyounoussi or whatever the fuck his name is, Bolasie, Konoplyanka, of course, which is a recurring name, and then, well, ABOUBAKAR has mainly been hinted at, so it hasn't really been. Well, there's Fanatic is writing, Fanatic is writing about it and stuff like that, but there's nobody serious writing about it yet. But there's like people hinting at it. But my main takeaway from what we've learned in the past 2 months is, look, it's probably going to be somebody completely different. It's probably going to be someone we didn't think of at all. Maybe it's going to be Moses Simon or something.
Oh, also, Robert Mock just came up, right? I'm not
Yeah,
sure
but
how legit
again,
that is,
that's agent games. Yeah. That looks very clear to me. But no, I think, like, for example, I wouldn't be surprised if suddenly we signed Victor Moses, which is just an example. Oh, not Victor Moses.
Oh, Moses Simon.
Sorry, Moses Simon. Yeah, sorry, Moses Simon. That's somebody, for example, that I could see happen out of the blue, out of nowhere. A guy I really like, by the way. But no, so I don't know. I wouldn't
like Ibasa go from China. Free my
man. I wouldn't be too clinging too much to these names. Now, if you gave me the option out of these names, look, I like Konoplyanka. I know he's not consistent, but I like the style. I think that could work I think that would really fit Abdullah Avcı's way that he wants to play. But obviously he's had issues with playing consistently ever since he's left Dnipropetrovsk. So yeah, it's a question mark a little bit. But I'd be interested in seeing that. Especially the thing what I obviously ABOUBAKAR. Look, if you can get ABOUBAKAR and look within we can get him healthy and he's gonna stay healthy. Obviously, there's never a guarantee, but if we knew that with like relative certainty, then I would definitely say, okay, I want to go all out for Abu. But the thing with him is like I've been hearing this for a while from people in Portugal that speak to people that know stuff from within the club. There's apparently, you remember when we first signed him and there was this whole annoying situation where we were trying to lower his price and that the issue was that we had to negotiate with the French club that still owned like 50% of its rights.
40, right?
Yeah. So apparently the reason that Porto initially didn't outright bought him is because they got some paperwork on like doctor, whatever, basically that he has a very high probability of knee injuries. That's something they knew. And that's why they didn't buy him outright completely, and they only bought like 60%. They didn't ultimately end up buying that 40% after he had that amazing season when he left us, went back to them, and he had like a really great season or first 6 months or whatever, and he signed a new deal. I think they bought out the full rights then because they felt like they could really sell him for at least 25 or more million, which they probably could have if he didn't get that ACL injury. Anyway, long story short is that Porto have had knowledge of him having high probability of knee injuries, is what I'm being told. And now as well, people seem very down on the chance of him ever making a full recovery. He's been quote unquote back for a while now, and he's looked underwhelming. He hasn't looked his previous self. Obviously, it's difficult with Moussa Marega being in great form, scoring lots of goals, and him getting back into the team is a little bit tougher because of that. But still, I don't know. I think if it would be like an initial loan deal without an obligation to buy, I'd be okay with it. But for example, buying him outright, which I doubt would happen because I still think that Porto would want at least 10, 12, 13 million for him, which we are not going to do that. Like I said, we already spent 12 million, so we're not going to spend another 12. So a loan with an option to buy, not an obligation, I'd be okay with that. But I really want a proper left winger because like I have serious doubts about Quaresma. So I know. Not just Quaresma, but Quaresma, Lens. I don't know. I think we need a proper left winger, and once Burak is back, I think ABOUBAKAR can do the job in a pinch if he's fit. But I don't think ABOUBAKAR, Burak, Boyd works. As your pattern. If you know what I mean. I don't think.
You don't forget Ljajic. That's a big part of it.
No, but I'm just being. Abu playing Abu out of position because you're playing him out of position. You have to accept that.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, that's my big qualm. I guess with the thing. I'm actually more interested in getting
How about
him.
Boyd Abu Quaresma?
Well, so that's the thing. I actually like Abu becoming the bridge between Burak and then if Gouven becomes a legit option in like 2 years or so, great. If not, we hit the market or maybe develop somebody else.
Obviously, Aboubakar's still only 27 years old.
Exactly. So he's a perfect bridge in that regard.
If and you can loan him,
think of Ljajić's age, Karius, Dorkan, Ozan. He really.
I mean, he's African, so obviously he could be 40, but
he looks 27. He doesn't look like Minala or something.
Yeah, he doesn't look old. But the thing, like I said, if you could loan him and he does get back up to his former glory, and then of course you're doing a great deal of business if you can get let's say you can get like a loan deal, you're paying like 1 or 2 million loan fee, and then you have like an 8 million option or something like that. That would be, I think, really good. And then because then you have the successor to Burak.
Exactly.
If need be, let's say it's going to be one of those seasons like I'm dreading for Burak, where he's going to go from one small injury into the other, and he maybe ends up playing like 22, 23, 24 games rather than 34 in the league. I think then getting Aboubakar would be, and obviously if Aboubakar's knees hold up, and what I'm being told is just, look, that's something they've been saying about Dembaba as well for 10 years, and his knees have all held up. And
hey, like between half of Burak's leg and half of Aboubakar's leg, we got a full leg.
We have 3 competitions this year to play in. 2 important ones.
Indeed.
Europa League and Turkish League. Burak is having injury issues, if he can't play 90 minutes twice a week. To have A, a super sub, or B, a left wing option, or C, just an outright starter.
What if Aboubakar outplays Burak? That's not
which is possible.
Yeah.
If his knees hold up, I always liked him better. I'm sure I'll get attacked saying Burak is the best, whatever, blah blah blah. But I think Aboubakar's a little more on his day. He's not consistent, but on his day, I think he's a better player.
Yeah, he's technically a much better player.
He can take players on.
Stuff. Yeah.
That's the thing. He's more multifaceted.
Yeah. Plus, when he's in form, he scores really easily.
Yeah, when he's in form, he's really in form. And when he's out of form, he's really out of form.
Come on, guys. Tell me right now you wouldn't love to see an in-form Aboubakar with, Ljajić? Come on, that'd be, beautiful.
Also, I think the fans, will already like him going in. I think when he first came, we were kind of, uncertain about it. Yeah. And now he comes back, he's going to feel...
He'd have, a lot of credits.
Kaan, can you just imagine that, Ljajić teeing him up like he's teed up all the guys who aren't as good, but, it being Aboubakar, him just, slamming it in, and the celebrations, it would be fantastic. Come on. I can already envision it.
Classic Aboubakar.
Well, I from time to time, I still look at that. I still watch that video of the Benfica of the goal, and I just, it makes me emotional, So I do miss him, of course, but
you bring up good points.
You have to make decisions with your head, not with your heart, when it comes to this kind of stuff, especially when it comes to multi-million deals. And I think, Aboubakar buying him out. Well, we're not going to buy him outright anyway, but
we couldn't anyway.
But like I said, an obligation to buy would be a poor decision too. And maybe.
Although, let me put it this way: if it's an obligation to buy, where it's if he plays 75% of the matches, the reality is if he's able to play 75% of the matches, we probably would want to buy him anyway.
Okay, but
even then, it depends. But
who's going to agree to 75? Porto's not going to.
Exactly. Yeah, I would say if it's a 50% thing, then obviously not. Yeah. But at the same time, I think Porto would recognize that others might take caution, given what you've said too. So I don't know. Let's hope for the best, whatever does happen.
Yeah, tweet comeback Aboubakar. Don't forget.
Yeah, and we have a good relationship. Beşiktaş have a very good relationship with Porto, so I'm sure that because Porto does really seem to be wanting to offload him. You can't forget he's probably earning $3 million a year as well. So and Porto are also under financial fair play, so maybe they just want to get him off the wage bill for the year, and hope the first time he went to us, it was very successful, and he came back as a better player. So they might not even be. They might just, it's you know what, you can have him, and if you end up not being able to pay his
worst case
his
scenario,
fee,
he's back.
We still feel pretty confident in the fact that he can recover his form with you guys. So I don't know, but at the end of the day, like we said, this just being Aboubakar's being hinted at, we don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So stay tuned, listeners. This is gonna be a big week. For all I have to really say,
Still the beginning of
before
August.
we close
have
out.
a whole almost month.
Yeah, but Adali said within the next week or two, our
Exactly,
transfers
yeah.
will be done. So I mean,
And it makes sense. We have one friendly against Panathinaikos before Sivas. I think you want to at least, like, I'm glad we're going to get to see Victor Ruiz, in theory, even if it's just for like a half. I want to see like what it looks like with him next to Domagoj Vida. You know, I want to see what our rotation starts to look like. So, yeah, I hope Ljajic will be back. Clearly, Burak won't. Is Dorkan going to be back? I know Nejip won't.
Yeah, Dorkan and Ljajic were both out for 2 weeks, and they're probably still like, I don't know, 8-9 days or maybe 10 days supposedly. But the expectation is that they should be ready for. Well, at least they should be available for Sivas. Maybe not ready.
I think it would be more likely for them to be more cautious early on in the season, just because.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily need to re-injure them, so they might give them an extra game or so just to recover, an extra week, even 2 week recovery.
Also, guys, Beşiktaş is going to be hosting Panathinaikos on Saturday, August 10th. It's a 1 p.m. for us here on the East Coast. So, Kaan, I believe that's 7 p.m. for you? 6 p.m.?
Hey, man, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm not doing any...
Yeah, you're done with that. Yeah, no math, Kaan. But yeah, so as always, check your local listings. I'm excited. You know, we have just one friendly to go, and the season's starting. We've talked about this on numerous occasions already. We're going to be on the road against Sivas for our first match of the season on the 17th of August. And we have an official time now, by the way, Evran. That's 2:45 p.m. in the
Eastern.
So, yeah, it's a late
that's
one.
Late,
for us.
yeah.
So that must be the night game. The feature for beIN.
Yeah. Douglas returns.
So that's
the big news story.
That's exciting. It's good news for me. I can have my lunch, drinks. You know, I can drink some beers on a full stomach. It's always good to have food in your stomach.
Hey man, weren't you complaining about your beer guts?
I mean that's one. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, but. One at a time. First of all, I need to be able to drink on a good hour, and then we'll talk about moderation and all that. But yeah, I'm excited for the season to start. As always, regardless of what we've done thus far, I think we're going to get our guys back. We're going to have another addition or two into the roster, hopefully in the next week, so that maybe we can get a glimpse of them against Panathinaikos. But yeah, the summer's over, just about. Any parting words for the summer, guys?
I hope this. Yeah, I hope this heat wave doesn't come back. Me, it was like 105 degrees here, to put it in your American terms, plus like 70+% humidity. So,
and it always it's like 105, but it feels like, so it probably felt like 115 or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, the humidity is insane. I mean, pardon my French there, you can bleep me, but
yeah, it's you gotta put me to work a little bit on the back end.
Yeah, exactly.
How about you, Evran? What do you have to say about this summer coming to an end? You ready for it?
You know, I'm ready for the I just love watching Beşiktaş, Turkish League, Europa League coming back. I'm just ready. Obviously,
your Connect this year.
Yeah, I'll be having other things going on, but I still, it's nothing you can really replace with that. You can watch international games, you can play, but still, still that feeling of that Beşiktaş game on the weekend, I'm looking forward to it. And Quaresma, of course, my man coming back.
Your man, yeah, your
dad.
Yeah,
my dad. Yeah, hopefully, ABOUBAKAR will join him. But a couple new transfers.
Your other dad, your two dads.
Yeah.
Maybe my two dads. That's great. No, man. I mean, this is going to be an exciting week, and so I can guarantee you guys that our next episode. Although actually, our next episode is going to be the Victor Ruiz episode. Thank you, Kaan.
I don't know. That might be. I don't know, because
that might be the one.
I'll be recording that next week. So
okay. So we actually.
I don't know yet. I haven't scheduled the exact day, so that might be Monday. That might be Tuesday. So.
All right. Yeah. So we'll get back to you next. I guess probably post Panathinaikos, and hopefully, I mean, unless there's some big news before then, and we have to get back to it sooner.
Might
Cross
be.
your fingers. But, you know, I would say the
Don't
safe
get your
bet
hopes
is
up.
that we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about Panathinaikos and a transfer, I would imagine, if not two.
Let's hope.
Yeah,
Let's hope.
Kaan, you got some stuff to plug before I say my my motto.
Do I?
You gotta plug Patreon, plug Football Alla Turca.
Yeah.
You got
Yeah.
stuff going on.
Yeah.
Your 8 podcast.
And us, plug us.
Yeah.
Our
So
Twitters.
you know what? I mean, if you guys, if you're
By the
listening,
way, this whole episode, my phone has been going off with new followers on the Black Eagles podcast Twitter account. If that's going on, you can blame Kaan for that. He's being productive on the social media front. I guess.
That's what I've been doing like the entire time. Okay, so let's see. Plug. Yeah, guys, check out Football Alla Turca. I mean, if you like what we do here at the Black Eagles podcast, we haven't really checked out Football Alla Turca yet. Go check it out. I do that with 3 other guys. Burak Sezgin is a Fenerbahce fan. He's really funny, really nice guy. Özer Ginger, who's a Galatasaray fan, great guy too. I've known him for Sinan and I and him go way back, like I don't know, decade plus. And another one of my friends, Umut Nadir, also a Galatasaray fan, and I don't know where did I meet Umut? I don't know. I guess I met him because he was like I think from working for FIFA, for EA. I think I met him there.
I mean, whenever you meet a Fener fan and they're like tolerable,
he's a Galatasaray fan. He's a Galatasaray fan, and
even more so. And
that's
I'm kidding.
even more
obviously.
so.
I have a lot of
Like,
Galatasaray.
I know a lot of Fenerbahce fans. You know, I throughout my life, like I generally, like when it comes to non-Beşiktaş fans, I gravitate more toward Fener fans. Galatasaray fans usually
My whole family are Fener.
are worse. But
for sure.
But you know, so you know what I mean. If you're a Galatasaray fan and I follow you on Twitter, that means you're not an asshole.
It's a high honor.
It's a compliment.
Atakos.
Atakos is a nice guy. Is great. I mean, Özer is a great guy. Umut's a great. I love Umut. He's a great guy too. But so we do Football Alla Turca together. Basically, what is that? That's what we do here, but basically for the entire Super League. We review matches
recently. You're gonna have to talk more about them, I guess, right?
Yeni Malatyaspor. When you know how we do these European previews, I'm doing those now for other teams. I just finished today recording one for Sparta Prague, who are Trabzonspor's opponent in the Europa League qualifiers. I did one for Partizan Belgrade, with our good old friend Sonja Niksevic.
You hear at the beginning and end of every episode.
Yeah, exactly. And they're Malatyaspor are playing Partizan, so I did a preview, recorded that today. I still have to do the editing and stuff like that, but that'll be out soon. Yesterday, I recorded one for Başakşehir's opponent Olympiakos with Stavros Markoulakis, a Greek journalist. So that's already out. You can already go check that out. So lots of content. If you like listening to the Black Eagles podcast on your commute from or back to whatever, to work or whatever, and you need some more podcasts to listen to, go check out Football Alla Turca. And also you can support us, basically, because you're basically supporting me, because I'm paying for the hosting of these podcasts, which is quite expensive, we want to not have any limitations, so we want to be able to upload as much as possible, have good bandwidth, so you can download them quickly, you can stream them easily, offer on
go out to all the
platforms, Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, all that stuff. So, we want to provide the best service. Of course, that costs money. So if you like what we do, if you want to support us, just go to patreon.com/FALT, so fault. You'll end up on the Football Alla Turca Patreon page, but basically if you're pledging there, you're supporting both podcasts. You're supporting the Black Eagles podcast, you're supporting Football Alla Turca podcast. So you
are thinking about maybe having some Black Eagles features Oh, over there too, right? On the Patreon.
Yeah,
listeners?
we'll see how it goes. I mean, if we get some influx from Black Eagles only listeners or something, then definitely we will take a look at that. But basically, there's 2 tiers right now. There's a $3 tier, which basically gets you nothing, a follow from the Football Alaturka account on Twitter, and also you can suggest a topic for us to discuss in one of the future episodes. But if you're more a Black Eagles podcast listener than you are a Football Alaturka listener, and you want to suggest a topic for this podcast, and you become a Patreon, you can do that. So you can just select which podcast you would prefer for us to talk something about. And then we have a second tier, which is a $10 tier. Basically, you have the same advantages there, but the difference is that if you suggest a topic, you can be a guest on our show, and you can come discuss your topic with Uzer, Burak, and Umut and I, or of course, again, if you prefer to do so on the Black Eagles podcast, same thing applies, as long as you're supporting.
Yeah, we don't want any Fener fans on the Black Eagles podcast.
Nope.
No, sir.
No, actually, you know what? No, you know what? They are welcome. Maybe that could be fun, having some proper arguments,
Yeah, but be prepared to be ganged up on by the three.
I think Beşiktaş fans are the smartest fans, so
Oh yeah, for sure. If we don't say so ourselves,
without a doubt, that's I mean,
that's a given.
That's a given.
And of course, our listeners are the smartest among the Beşiktaş fans, so we really are catering to the smartest of all, if you will. But no, good stuff, Kaan. Follow. Yeah, I guess you already gave the at for Football Alaturka. Right?
Oh, that's at Footy Alaturka. So
ALATURCA.
Just look for Football Alaturka, and you can find Football Alaturka on iTunes, on Spotify, anywhere where you can find the Black Eagles podcast. You can find Footy Alaturka, even YouTube now. I just opened a YouTube account to publish that too. And it's not like for example, we have a couple of people that listen to the Black Eagles podcast on YouTube. For those people, actually stop listening to a podcast on YouTube, especially when there's no webcam or anything, which we don't do right now. Just go and download, subscribe. Don't just download, subscribe on iTunes, subscribe on Google Play or Spotify, Stitcher, whatever. It's much easier. You can just close your phone and still listen. Otherwise you need YouTube Premium, which is stupidly expensive.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you can just listen to it for free. You don't need to support us on Patreon if you want to be a cheap ass.
But also follow the mothership, Beşiktaş International, at Beşiktaş_INT. Follow us here at Eagles_podcast. Follow Kaan at Razerian, RAZZERIAN. Follow Evran at fan of BJK. Jan. Follow me at Sir_rights_a lot. Yeah, man. What else can we say? Stay tuned.
Go Beşiktaş!
Oh, come on!
Oh, Beşiktaş!
And of course, go Beşiktaş! As always, whether my thunder's been stolen or not. Stay tuned. I think this week is going to be pivotal for the club, and of course for the podcast. We're going to have some good news.
Everyone did it last time.
Now it's your turn to steal it.
Good.
Well, it had to happen, I guess. It's my fault for I should have usually you guys do the outro and then it's like and then one more thing. So it's my fault.
Beşiktaş International hopes you enjoyed this program.